Well, it's gotten bad whenever you're excited for the international break. What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, since it's now break time for this weekend and we don't have any Chelsea games, I figured now's a good time to look back on the past two games that I haven't gotten to review and just kind of give some quick thoughts about it. I mean, there's not much that I can say that most everybody else hasn't already said. But starting with the home match against Copenhagen for the second leg, a 1-0 win, probably our most boring win out of the entire season. We've had some boring wins, to be fair. We've had a couple where we just barely squeaked past, and it was a little embarrassing that we did. There's nothing exciting about it. First half was dreadful again, where we just had nothing going for us. And you're hoping that the second half could get better, you're hoping that it'll improve, and it really didn't. It just seems like we get stuck in this inability to create anything. How to move the ball around the top of the box, how to open up space, how to move to get open, and everybody just gets real stagnant and stale, and so the ball movement is stale because it's just basically passing to a standing man the whole time. Nobody's in motion when they receive it. Everybody's just, it's bland. And I don't know why we always revert to this. Every coach, I talked about this before, but every coach that we've had come in the past decade or so, it always reverts back to this. We always revert back to ton of possession, top of the box, no penetration, no creativity, no movement. Where does it come from? Where does this idea of slow passing around the top of the box, that's the way to do it? That's the way to break down teams that are going to pack it in. It's stupid. Yeah, so we have one moment though where Dewsbury Hall gets a bit of luck, manages to wriggle his way past one challenge, and then deflected clearance off of him falls right into his path, and he puts it away. And I will say it was kind of funny because the commentator after he scored said something along the lines of, a lot of Chelsea fans have been waiting to see the best of Dewsbury Hall. Well, they've just now seen it. I'm like, that's the best of Dewsbury Hall? Cutting one guy and then getting lucky and bumbling through the defense to score a goal? That's the best he's got? No wonder he was playing for a championship side last year. He meant it as a compliment, but if you actually watched how he got the goal, the first turn was nice. I'll give him that one. But everything that followed it was just pure luck. And so to say that that's the best he's got, it's not as much of a compliment as you think it is. Yeah, it just didn't feel like anybody else on the pitch had anything to offer on either side, to be honest. I mean, Copenhagen really didn't do much to threaten us either. It never felt like the game was in any doubt that we were going to go through. And considering it was only 2-1 after the first leg, it's kind of disappointing for Copenhagen, I'm sure. But that's not really the one to talk about. The game to talk about is, of course, the 1-0 loss against Arsenal. And I gotta say, Arsenal fans must be livid with that because we were god awful and they still barely beat us. I mean, we nearly had a chance to equalize at one point, and I don't think they would have found a way through us after that. Like they obviously have their corners still working for them, but nothing else that they were doing was really threatening us. Honestly, we were being more threatening to ourselves because once again, we're passing out of the back with Sanchez in goal. Why do we keep going to do that? And not even just Sanchez. We have Sanchez and Badiashile in defense, and we're still trying to pass it out of the back. Both of them are the worst passers of the ball on the team. Why do we keep possession in our back line with both of them back there? But let's talk about Badiashile. Why is he starting? Why is he starting this match? First of all, he's probably the worst defender at the club now because Disasi's gone, and Disasi was the only one that was really fighting him for that position of the worst defender on the team. So why is he in when we've got Tosin and Chalobah both available? Like that back line, Fofana, Colwill, Badiashile, that is probably the worst back three we could put out there at the moment. Colwill, he has his moments, and he has the potential, I think, to be the best defender when he's on his day, but he's had a lot of mistakes this season. Fofana has not had a good season. He's been awful. Defensively, positionally, he's not been good. Badiashile is just a terrible defender. He's Badiashile. Chalobah and Tosin, both solid. Why are we not turning to either of them? That makes no sense to me. And the fact that Maresca made that decision, just in my mind, tells me that he has no real grasp of what a good defender is, of what a good keeper is, to be honest. I mean, the fact that we loaned out Petrovic and kept Sanchez and Jorgensen, who neither are good keepers, and Petrovic is a good keeper, that decision should have already clued us in that maybe he's not the best judge of player. But now he's putting Badiashile in over Chalobah and Tosin. There's no excuse for that. Unless there's an injury that we don't know about, unless he's resting Chalobah and Tosin's legs or something, I don't know. There's no reason why both of them are being benched in favor of Badiashile. His performance, absolutely proved it. He was awful. He gave the ball away so much. Defensively, he was getting run by, like he wasn't even there. I mean, Martinelli made him look like a fool at one point. But getting back to my original point, this was very much a game of two very poor teams, and one team just happened to get the goal and the other team did. That was it. And it's just really frustrating that we couldn't even get a point out of it. As bad as Arsenal was, we couldn't do anything to threaten them. Once again, the most threatening player. In fact, whenever I was making my prediction in the Chelsea app, because I went ahead and predicted, I was like, you know what? I think I have a pretty good idea of how this game's going to go. I said 3-0 Arsenal. I overestimated Arsenal, apparently. And I said the person who's going to score, if we were going to get a goal, I put Cucurella. Guess who had the best chance of the game? How is our left back our most threatening player in the attack? How is that possible? When we spent so much money, when we have players like Neto, like Nkunku, like Sancho, we have players with that type of quality, and we still have to rely on our left back to create anything. That's not good enough. And I realize that it's kind of a misfit right now because we don't have Jackson. Palmer was not fit or whatever, or sick. I personally think there's problems going on behind the scenes. Anytime that Maresca tells us that somebody's sick, it's because there's some issue behind the scenes that he doesn't want us to know about. Again, Mudryk was sick. No, he actually had an issue with this drug test that came back positive. So Palmer was sick. And now all of a sudden he had a little knock. He was feeling something. No. Tell us the truth. Be honest with us. Like, you don't have to tell us what the problem is, but if there's a problem, tell us there's a problem. Stop lying to our faces. We're sick of all the lies. We're sick of all the stuff being said. The talk of, oh, we're not in the title race. We're looking to just make Champions League, and then we're all of a sudden not going to make Champions League. Oh, that wasn't the goal. We weren't trying to make Champions League. What? And now all of a sudden we win a few games. Oh no, we are pushing for Champions League. Will you just, honestly, Maresca, just stop doing press conferences. Just stop, because I'm sick of listening to you. I'm sick of listening to all of the BS that you spew. It's really frustrating. The overall performance against Arsenal was just awful. Outside of Cucurella, Fernandes, and Caicedo, they all worked their butts off, but there was nothing around them. They were the ones that kept us in the game. Sanchez kept us in with a couple of good saves, because again, that's what he does well. It's the one thing he does well is make some good saves. But Cucurella, Caicedo, and Fernandes, they were the only ones that I felt like were really pushing themselves and trying to take the game to Arsenal. A very poor Arsenal. And they gave us a couple of opportunities here and there, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. And if anybody else had given their level of effort, Neto kind of did at times. He had that hard press that he likes to put in because he has a lot of energy and a lot of pace, but the quality from him, it just isn't there. And then Sancho and Nkunku aren't giving you anything. James is back to his lackadaisical play. So you just got all of these issues around the field, and then you got three defenders that are all not good. And the fact that we end up getting beat on a corner is embarrassing. Like, yes, Sanchez probably should do a bit better on the looping header, but also, why is nobody putting pressure on the guy making the header? It's basically a free one, flicked on to the back post. So just looking at these two matches, though, a boring 1-0 win for us against Copenhagen, and then a boring 1-0 loss at Arsenal, and both of them are just terrible performances. Boring to watch. They're not fun. There's nothing exciting about them. There's nothing to get me excited to see more. And what's really frustrating is we have a decent chance to go on a little run here, but the problem is I don't trust this team to do that. Where we are right now, we can beat Southampton and Leicester. We can beat Copenhagen. We're not going to beat anybody above that. I mean, I hate to say this, but even Tottenham, I don't even feel confident about beating them right now. And that should be the team you always feel confident about beating when you're Chelsea. But based on how we're performing, they can outwork us. They're not a good team. They're not in a good run of form at the moment. They're really bad, to be perfectly honest. But you know what? They'll work hard, at least. We've seen that from them. It's the quality and the mistakes that have been killing them. For us, we don't work hard. There's a lack of effort from most of these players that is going to kill us in games against teams like Tottenham, who are just going to outwork us, outrun us, want the ball more. So I think I've said this back, I don't remember what review this was now, but I said something about how I feel like I'm just waiting for Jackson to get back at this point for our season to have any chance of picking back up. I hate that feeling. That's on the transfer team for not getting us a suitable backup. But that's really what's killing us. We don't have somebody who can do the same role that Jackson can. Guiu might have been able to, but I still think he was also too young to really do it effectively. But we're waiting for Jackson to get back so he can start making those runs again. He can start opening up the defense again. because right now we don't have anybody that's willing to do that. Neto is trying, but he just doesn't make the right runs. He's got a lot of energy. He doesn't have the strength that Jackson has, but he's not a striker. He's not a true striker that knows instinctually where to make the run, how to open up the defense, where to pull the defender. So I know this is a bit of a shorter one, and obviously I can't go fully in depth because it has been a week since I watched that game, so it's not fully sticking to my mind right now. I don't fully remember the entire match, but I just remember that feeling of this is dull. It's pathetic, honestly, is the best word to use for it. The fact that that's where we are right now. And again, the fact that Arsenal couldn't even score more than one on us. Like, that's pathetic for them too, and no wonder they're out of the title race at this point. But yeah, looking ahead, I mean, can we make top four? I don't think so. Based on our current performances, I don't expect us to, because I don't think we're going to be beating any other team outside of the bottom three. As far as Conference League, I think more than likely we face Fiorentina in the final. I don't know if we beat them. We might have Jackson back by then, so that does give us a little bit more of a chance. I mean, based on our current run of form, a team like Fiorentina could easily beat us. Personally think, though, if we don't win the Conference League, that is the ultimate failure. I know some people look at it as just a silly trophy, one that's not really that important, and I agree, it's not the biggest competition in the world, but we should still win it. We should still go out there, we should still win it because it's a trophy, and we should want to win something, because we've not since the new ownership took over. So this is a chance to win something, so let's go do that. As far as the league is concerned, I mean, I want Champions League, but at this point, I think I'll be happy if we just make Europa. Based on how we're playing right now, Europa would feel like an accomplishment, especially considering Man City and Newcastle are probably going to start picking it up here soon. Especially Newcastle, after their big win, they're going to be really firing, and they're going to be super excited to go and try to get up into the Champions League again. And Man City, they're trying to save their season. They're trying to make it respectable by finishing at least Champions League. So you got those two teams are really going to be pushing us hard. And I don't think we're going to be winning enough games to make up that ground. So ultimately, Europa League, it's going to feel like an accomplishment at this point. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on the last two games, and what do you think for the rest of the season? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. Also, check out the channel. We have a lot of other reviews on here as well as some Let's Plays, so check those out if you have time. But until next time, hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.